We demand justice for Daryl Lowry. Daryl was a 13-year-old black teen who was found dead, stabbed, and possibly drowned, too. This sounds familiar, doesn't it? The only difference between this and Nolan Wells is that the culprits have been charged with a crime. We already know that the way this is going to work because the media in this country is not covering Daryl's story. Another tactic of white silence so that these people can get away with their crimes. Daryl's story isn't just another example of the way that these people hide amongst us in order to be your friend, so that they can end up unaliving your children. Daryl's story also shows the dangers of systems like foster care in this country for black kids. Black children are 60% more likely to experience abuse when they enter systems like foster care. Another way the systematic oppression in this country costs us lives every single day. I hope that these two culprits are found guilty because the only reason that they targeted Daryl was because they thought that they could get away with it. I'm so sick of hearing stories like this. And I'm sick of waiting for the rest of the country to care about people like Daryl because we're losing lives every single day. Rest in peace, Daryl Lowry. We'll also try to keep you guys up to date as this story unfolds. As always, I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next time. Peace. And make sure you hit all the buttons to get this story out there. Because unless we do something, they're just going to try to sweep this situation under the rug.
Morning after this 13-year-old boy was found dead in a lake. Investigators say he was stabbed and held underwater by two older teenagers. Channel 9 South Carolina reporter Tina Terry learned the young teen from Chester was in foster care. Tina, this is heartbreaking.
The entire family is hurting. He was a well-loved child amongst his entire family, both sides of his family. And for him to be taken away, they're visibly devastated.
Sherry McNeil and her husband John talked to me on Zoom today about their young cousin Daryl Lowry. The 13-year-old was from Chester, but a family attorney says the boy was in the custody of the state of South Carolina, 100 miles away in this small community of Modoc near Strom-Thurmond Lake. State police say Lowry was at a boat dock when he got into a physical fight with two older boys. This affidavit says Lowry had lacerations from a knife, and the other boys murdered him by holding him underwater until he became deceased. State police arrested and charged 17-year-old Landon Moore with murder. A 16-year-old is in the custody of juvenile justice.
I was devastated when I heard it.
McCormick County Council Chairman Bernard Hamby seems to suggest Lowry was in his custody. An email from him sent to ABC affiliate WJBF said, "For 13 years, I've been fostering boys who needed a gentle place to land during the hardest times of their life. You can never know what a person, even a child, is fully capable of. And to Daryl, I'm so sorry for the circumstances that brought you to my home, and I'm heartbroken by how you were taken from this world."
Well, we want full transparency as a community, as a family.
The McNeils say they're organizing a rally in Chester this weekend, calling for justice.
This is not the first time that I've sat before a news interview fighting for justice for a family. It's saddened to know that this time it is my own flesh and blood.
And that justice rally will take place here in Chester tomorrow. It starts at 7 p.m. at the Chester County Court.
Another young black boy's life has been ended at the hands of two of his white peers. 13-year-old Daryl Lowry was in foster care in South Carolina when he and two other boys, and one of them was 17, so in Texas, that's legally an adult, who were also foster children, went down to a boat dock, and something happened. A fight broke out. Daryl Lowry was first attacked with a knife, and then he was held underwater. If the colors were reversed for Daryl Lowry and Nolan Wells, we would be hearing about it from everywhere. People would be shouting it from the rooftops. But not only does the media not cover it, too many people who look like me aren't saying anything about it. We aren't calling each other out. And listen, if we are ever going to have any chance of eradicating racism, it's white people who have to stand up and hold each other accountable. Daryl Lowry was 13 years old. Nolan Wells. Don't forget their names. And if you don't hear people talking about them, then you do it. And if you hear people blaming them, it is time, white people, to stand up and put an end to it. Now, it's the only way we can really go love our neighbors.
Honestly, I don't know how many souls that black people will literally lose or black people will literally lost, whatsoever the English is, before these white folks will be happy. I literally do not know. Because as at this point, where every single day it is one case or the other, it's quite sad. Now, let it make sense to me that a 13 years old that is in his foster home was unalive by a 17 years old black people. Welcome to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credit to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. With that being said, let's go watch. I'll be back with commentary.
What do 18-year-old Daniel Irving and 13-year-old Daryl Lowry have in common? Don't worry, I'll spare you. One was murdered by a white person, and one was quote unquote with a group of friends and he accidentally drowned. Yes. Here we have the story yet again of 13-year-old Daryl Lowry out of upstate South Carolina, who on this past Monday, just 2 days ago, July 20th, was found dead at the hands of two foster children who were in the same home as him. A 16-year-old has been arrested and is currently in juvenile custody in South Carolina. And we have 17-year-old, the thug suspect to my left. He's facing charges of murder. It is speculated, according to the articles, that these two thugs got in a fight with Daryl Lowry. And in the commencement of that fight, Daryl was stabbed. And that 16-year-old then decided to drown him. Instead of going for help to rescue this innocent baby. And he was only temporary in foster care. These two thugs were going to probably try to cover it up as a drowning. The same way that is being done in other states, Mississippi, Texas, we have it here in South Carolina. Now, are they even talking about it as they should here in the local media? On my local media, I heard about it tonight. So that should tell you. It's not mainstream. This baby has a family. He has a mama, a father, probably siblings, grandparents, aunties, and uncles that loved him. And from what the article states, this thug was 182 pounds and 6 feet. And Daryl was nothing but 125 pounds and 5'2". Prayers to Daryl Lowry's family, and I pray that this baby gets justice, and that 16-year-old needs to also be charged as an adult too. Spread his name and get his story out. Don't let this baby's death, as well as Daniel Irvin's death, be in vain.
There's a reason why the two foster kids in the 13-year-old drowning death of Daryl Lowry were arrested and the many participants in the Nolan Wells case have not been held accountable or arrested. One is foster kids usually mean that they're already in the state system, so it's easier to look at them as a liability. They already don't have a support system. It's, looked at, and it's easier to get them to say the truth about things that have happened because, well, nobody's coaxed them on an untruth. However, in the Nolan Wells situation, those parents were statured, they have money, and they can groom their children into contortionist style misrepresentation of the events that actually occurred. And I believe in my heart that that's the reason why the two Caucasian foster participants in the death of Daryl Lowry have been arrested, and none of the participants in the Nolan Wells case have been arrested. Money, class, support, and the grooming of a non-truth teller. Check me if I'm wrong.
A 13-year-old black kid entered foster care expecting protection. Instead, investigators say he never made it out alive, and the allegations are absolutely heartbreaking. Authorities in South Carolina say 13-year-old Daryl Martinez Lowry was found dead on July 20th at a dock on Clark Hills, also known as Strom Thurmond Lake in Modoc, South Carolina. According to investigators, Daryl was with two other foster children when an altercation broke out. Court documents allege that Daryl suffered knife wounds, and then two teenagers held his head underwater until he died. Those allegations contained in court records have not yet been proven in court. Authorities arrested 17-year-old Landon Moore, who was charged with murder. A 16-year-old also was taken in custody and transferred to the South Carolina Department of Juvenile Justice. Investigators say all three boys were living together in the foster home of McCormick County Council Chairman Bernie Hanby, where Daryl had only recently been placed there while waiting for another foster home. The investigation is now being led by SLED, which stands for South Carolina Law Enforcement Division. SLED is the state's primary investigative agency, similar to a state-level FBI. It handles major crimes, including homicides, officer-involved shootings, public corruption cases, and other complex investigations. When local agencies request assistance, SLED takes the lead in collecting evidence, conducting interviews, and building the case for prosecutors. At this time, investigators have not released a motive. Meanwhile, Daryl's family remembers him as a joyful child, full of love, and says they are determined to get justice. As the investigation continues and the case moves through the court system, more information is expected to be released.
Why do y'all make TikTok so serious? I just want to watch fun videos. Daryl Lowry will never get to watch a fun video ever again. A young 13-year-old black boy will never get to do anything again because on July 20th, he was attacked with a knife and held underwater, allegedly by two white boys. He died. 13 years old, and barely anyone's talking about it. The media certainly isn't talking about it, but you sure as hell saw them plaster Carmelo Anthony's face all over their screens when he was the suspect. Somehow, when the situation's reversed, either they don't talk about it or the white suspects get the benefit of the doubt. I'll tell you right now, there's nothing Daryl Lowry or Nolan Wells or any of the countless other black victims of white violence and murder did to deserve death. We all need to be talking about them because those two kids, children, cannot speak for themselves, and they can't ever speak again. And shame on us if we let the perpetrators get away with it and continue to enforce the narrative that black bodies are disposable and responsible for their own deaths if the perpetrators are white. Stand up. All of you.
Bro, I'm still trying to get it together because of Corey Ruiz, and then I'm notified that on Monday, a black child, 13-year-old boy, named Daryl Lowry, was stabbed by two white boys after he arrived at his new foster home. And they stabbed him and then dragged him to a lake to drown him. Held his head under till he died. These motherfuckers want to talk about a crazy man stabbing a white woman on a bus The one time. They want to talk about that all the fucking time. Every single time we talk about racially motivated murder, that's the one they want to keep bringing up, as if we don't have hundreds, if not thousands, of fucking examples. And of course it was in South Carolina. Of course it was in the South. Even though at this point, it doesn't matter where the fuck you at. If you in the United States, good luck if you're around white people. I watch stories like this pop up all the time since I was like 10 years old. It's just one after another, but they're usually more spread out. You are lying, you are deluded, you are out of your fucking mind if you don't think that all of this has escalated to a point where it's damn near every other fucking day in the last year. And 9 times out of 10, they get away with it, or they get a lesser charge, like Jeffrey Tyler Kinzer getting away with just being charged with aggravated assault. Aggravated assault for shooting up a black family reunion full of women and children, unloading on people, and he's only getting charged with aggravated assault and was released on a $5,000 bond. These kids got arrested. We'll see what actually happens to them. And the only reason they even got arrested is because this is one of them situations that's so goddamn undeniable. Man, they wanted to give George Stinney the chair way back when, early 1900s, when he was accused for doing something he didn't actually fucking do. You want to give somebody the chair? Go ahead, give it them little niggas. I'm sick of this shit. I'm so fucking sick of this shit. It's insane. Let me turn this off before I say some shit I can't take back.
Another black boy is dead. 13-year-old Daryl Lowry was found underneath a dock at Storm Thurmond Lake in South Carolina. And while some people may think this is just another accidental drowning or whatever they're calling it these days, investigators this time they don't believe that. It's something else. According to South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, 17-year-old Landon Austin Moore has been charged with murder. Authorities allege that during a physical altercation at the dock, Daryl suffered knife lacerations before he was intentionally held underwater until he died. A 16-year-old who has not been identified was also taken into custody and transported to South Carolina Department of Juvenile Justice as the investigation continues. Daryl was just 13 years old and someone who is raising a black son in the United States. Stories like this terrify me. I'm afraid. I genuinely am. I'm afraid of what friends he might make along the way, what people he might trust along the way, and if something like this could potentially happen to him in the future. It is important to teach your kids to be cautious. Extremely cautious, especially during these times, because there are so many accidental drownings, and just drownings in general, of black men and young boys. And we're noticing.
So now there's news that a 13-year-old black boy named Daryl Martinez Lowry was found killed, and evidence shows he was stabbed and drowned hours after arriving at a Republican politician's home in South Carolina. If you're tired of me and others talking about this digital parade of Black Death, just imagine how we feel seeing and learning about it consistently. And as abolitionist Doc said, how many lynchings does it take to want a revolution in a world where black lives don't matter? How much must our souls bear? Because it's not just one person or a few bad apples. This is the world. This is systemic racism. It functions at multiple levels, not just person to person, but it's ingrained into society. It's in our structures, it's in our systems, and it's in our institutions. For example, attorneys say the inquiry will examine how Lowry was placed in the foster home and who was responsible for supervising him before his death. The family wants to know how the decisions to send Lowry to that home was made, what the state knew about the household and other children in it, and critically, who was responsible for supervising him overnight and where that person was when he died. When the state removes a child from his family and takes him into its care, it accepts a duty to keep that child alive. And they intend to find out whether that duty was met. And I think we can all agree that duty was not met. So again, we can see how the institution structures and systems are embedded with this racism. Not a lot of people know this, but we have a lot of evidence, data, and research documenting systemic racism in the United States of America, talking about the criminal justice system, socioeconomics, and all other different levels, right? And it may be hard for some people to find this. So if you go to jaredvan.com and then you go to those two little lines, you'll be able to go to Systemic Racism and freely access this article. I found that it had been taken down on multiple websites, and I decided to host it on my website. I did not find and create this, but I find it's a very helpful tool. Now back to this question. I actually know how to answer these questions, but some people are not going to like it. It actually goes back to critical race theory. One of the critical race theory tenets is interest convergence, where it says significant progress for blacks is achieved only when the goals of blacks are consistent with the needs of whites. Said simply, white supremacy won't die until white people see it as a white issue they need to solve rather than a black issue they need to empathize with. So if you're white and you want to do something, then you can disrupt this thing called organized white silence in America. Dr. Jamela made a great video, which I highly recommend y'all check out. When white people speak up, it disrupts this organized white silence at all different levels of systemic racism, as that white silence is one factor that upholds the different levels of systemic racism. The family is asking people to speak up and use their voice. They want to stop the silence. Organized white silence gets Daryl Martinez Lowry into a white Southern Republican politician's home. And white silence is the reason why we still don't know what happened to Nolan Wells. Before the end of July 2026, we will hear many more stories like this because of systemic racism, because of white supremacy culture, and because of organized white silence. I'm Dr. Van, here to help you understand how you can help prevent this from happening again.
Anyways, welcome back and thank you so much for watching. And honestly, when I literally saw this particular clip of this 13 years old, my heart literally bleeds. My heart bleeds because at the end of the day, this is how we keep losing black people. At the end of the day, this is how black people keep going out of no reason. And it is now more sad that the media is not even promoting this particular content as they are supposed to promote this particular content. If not, let it make sense to me that what is the relationship between a 17 years old and a 13 years old? A boy or a child that is from the foster home. And at the end of the day, this literally happened to him. A 13 years old boy full of life. Full of life. Now, this white dude or this 17 years old is charged with murder, right? But the question is, for how long is he going to serve that particular justice, honestly? Because I think right now there should be law of whosoever unalive should be unalive. The person should go through the same punishment that the other person literally went through. Like, how many do we even keep saying on this internet? We're not done with Nola Wentz. Now we are on a 13 years old boy case. Just 2 days or 3 days ago, another corpse, a white corpse, literally pew-pewed a black man. It's just so much for us to bear at the same time. If you don't want to be their friend, you are in problem. If you are their friend, you are in problem. How do these people feel so comfortable in doing things to black people without feeling any remorse? And you know, the annoying part of it is some of these people that they come up here online and be like, oh, black people are too defensive, black people are troublemakers, black people are the one pew-pewing, black people are the one unaliving people, leaving the real issue that they are supposed to deal with. Leaving the real thing that has literally been eating up their axe. Leaving the real thing that they are supposed to be sorting out. For how long do black people keep losing souls? It is sad that a happy boy is just unalive. Terribly unalive. That is the worst part of it. And at the end of the day, yes, we need to clap for you. People are doing well. For how long? Black parents, may this not be our portion anymore. Please, I beg you, no matter what you do as a black mother, as a black father, as a black sister, as a black brother, tell your children that these people are not their friends. Tell your children, See, it has gotten to that point where we also need to tell our children to learn how to defend themselves. Yes. They should learn how to defend themselves, because what is all this? We keep moving from one case to another, losing black people every single day. And you want to tell me that this hatred just started now? That is why I keep saying it, that 99% of some of these white folks, children that are committing all of this nonsense atrocity, it started from their parents. It started from what they are actually feeding them, what they are educating them with. As at this point of their life, this is quite sad. Honestly. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Credit belongs to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you. Liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks. Also join my membership. I'd not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And guys, with that being said, I'm going to be Simba and I'll see you guys in my next one, because this is quite sad.